With that, I'm going to turn it over to my friend David. So David has his own business, right? Alto Advance. He is an individual coaching and business consultancy, and he will help you figure out how to use LinkedIn to grow a brand, or maybe to find another job. So I'm going to stop sharing. And I'm going to turn it over to you, David. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Oh yes, pleasure. Thanks for the invite, and thank you for allowing me to impart my LinkedIn wisdom, do's and don'ts with everybody here today. All right. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. All right, we're just going to jump right into it. I get this from a lot of job seekers on LinkedIn, open to work, right? We're going to cover a few topics today. We're going to cover open to work, how networking doesn't have to take hours and hours and hours. And we're going to talk about some best strategies on really to get some traction. We're gonna teach everybody how to level up your second degree connections and how you can, if you're connected to me, how you can kind of piggyback on my connections. And then we're going to talk about some quick things you can do to your LinkedIn profile to really get some traction quick. All right. So talk about open to work. I think everybody knows that you can make that little green open to work on your banner, or, on your profile photo. You can have it set where everybody can see it, or only recruiters that are using a certain tool on LinkedIn can see it. But it's really up to you. I would say that if it's important for you to let the world know that you're open to work, then put it on there. I would say if you are unemployed, or maybe have one foot out the door, they've already given you that notice, then sure. If you're currently employed and maybe open to work, maybe isn't the right idea. Well, let's talk about this is people, and I just found this random person on LinkedIn before we started the webinar, but this person posted, "Hello, everyone. I'm looking for a new role. I want to appreciate your support." Now, he posted this 3 years ago. It's got 4 likes, no comments, no nothing. So unless you have a very large network on LinkedIn, and if you have hundreds, maybe 2,000 connections, I hate to burst your bubble, but that is just not very big, and only your connections are going to see this. And hopefully, you've already told everybody that you're kind of looking for work. So these types of posts, unless you have 135,000 followers, I think that's about what I have currently, you're not going to get much traction. So let's share this. Now, Joe, I think we had mentioned that I'll make this available to everybody that attends. I know they can go back and watch the video, but I have a little script to make this easy. But Joe, what might be a position that some of the people here listening today might apply for? What's that job title?
Scrum Master, Agile Coach.
Okay. All right. Okay. So in the search box on LinkedIn, I'm going to type Scrum Master. I'll share why I'm doing what I'm doing here in a minute. Again, I have this all laid out for you. And then we're going to search people. So really good best practice on LinkedIn. You see that job you want to apply for. And let's say it's at Microsoft. You could just type in the company here, but let's just say it's at Microsoft. Really good best practice. If you're searching for a role as a Scrum Master on Microsoft, doing what I'm about to share with you prior to applying can get you real traction, might get you that referral. But so what it's showing me, and you got to remember, LinkedIn's the largest online database. of over 1 billion people, uh, searching for people that work as Scrum Masters at Microsoft. Really good best practice because let's just we're gonna look at Jasper here. Here's something that I could share with him. I might message him real quick and say, "Hey Jasper, I see that you work as a Scrum Master software engineer at Microsoft, and recently I seen a job as a Scrum Master at Microsoft. Um, Prior to applying, do you believe that my skills, my experience would warrant me applying for that job? Thank you in advance for anything you provide." Now, I'm not sounding desperate. I'm not saying, "Hey, here's my resume, get me a job." But we know a lot of large companies and smaller companies, a lot of large companies might give a referral bonus. So let's just say it's evident on my LinkedIn profile that I've done what I've done. I've been a Scrum Master, I've done this, I've had this in education. Now, you saw it took very little time for me to find these types of people. Um, and I have these scripts, Joe, that we can provide everybody as well. But Jasper sees that, sees my profile, and goes, "Oh, wow, Dave could easily do that job." It took me very little time to do that. Jasper might say, "Oh, by heavens, yeah, I looked at your profile. You could easily do that job. Have you applied yet?" No. Well, hey, here's a link. Or, hey, let's get on the phone. So, Joe, I mean, doing this real quick, it didn't sound spammy. This is a great way to get advice, maybe get some interview prep. What if there's a $1,000 to, $2,000, $4,000 referral bonus in it for Jasper if he refers me and I you know, get the job? These are simple things that you can do to get conversations. And you saw how easy it is to find these people. Now, the one thing that you can do, so I have more than a few people that work as Microsoft as a Scrum Master because first degree connections, if everybody doesn't know on LinkedIn, means that I'm connected to them. Second degree connections are people that I'm connected to, and then I have at least one mutual connection with. What if I do this and I see, oh, geez, Joe's connected to somebody that works at that company? What a great way then, hey, Joe, can you make an introduction? Here's why. You can also search by location. So if you live in North Carolina and you want to filter by people that live in North Carolina, good best practice because people that live in the same bubble as you might be more apt to respond to you. Or you can do filters. You can filter by locations, current companies, connections of. Now, if you're connected to me on LinkedIn, and in the chat, I did put a link to my LinkedIn profile, but I have a very large network on LinkedIn, 130 some thousand, but you max out at 30,000 connections. But you could put connections of me. And if you see that I'm connected to somebody that works at a particular company at a particular position that you want to apply for, just message me. "Hey, Dave, I see you're connected to this Jasper guy. Here's why I was going to connect with it." If I can make a quick connection, 20, 30 seconds, Joe, that takes like very, very little time. Again, LinkedIn is the largest online database, and it's free to use. You can search for people that went to the same school as you. Now, remember, the smaller your network, you're not going to have many, maybe first degree connections. But when you're connected to somebody on LinkedIn, their connections become your second degree connections. Like I have about, I think about 4 million second degree connections on LinkedIn. So again, the more people you're connected to, you might not even know that you have a relative in New Jersey that's connected to a Scrum Master in Florida. But by doing this, again, such an easy best practice. Such easy best practice. Joe, any questions? Anybody got any questions regarding kind of what I just shared in this part?
Let's open it up. Anybody doing this? Has anybody tried to do this and failed? Has anybody been frustrated at trying to do this? Who's got a question?
I
I
don't have a
know Joe,
question,
but
but
oh,
I
yeah, go for
definitely get a lot of crickets, actually. But I did learn about using you in that that's new to me. I didn't know that you could do this, um, based on connections. So that's cool. But yes, I've done the whole like, hey, blah blah blah, sort of like what you had said, and nothing happens.
that. If they're not active on LinkedIn, then you know they might not see that message for 6 months, right? And
Yeah.
that is why, I mean, message even more. And if they live in the same state as you, then they might be more apt to reply. You can see if they have LinkedIn Premium or not right here by looking at this little LinkedIn right here. If they do, they might be more active, right? So they might be more apt to reply. That's why I say message as many people as you can, or again, seeing if you have somebody that is connected to somebody. And again, this takes very, very little time. I remember years and years ago, before I became active on LinkedIn, somebody taught me how to do this. And I met up with, way before COVID, I met up with somebody actually for coffee, just doing this very thing. So it can work. Again, it really, and it depends on the message. If that message is, can you help me find a job right away? Eh, generally, again, if you're just asking them, hey, based on my LinkedIn profile, do you believe that I should apply and I might get might get an interview? Again, then that gets those gears turning for those people. And if they can get a referral bonus for, referring you, such a good best practice. And leverage these all filters and make sure that you're connecting with people that work in the same or similar job at the company that you see that you want to apply for. This takes very little time. You'll get way more traction than ever posting that you're currently, looking for work.
Hey, I'm going to jump in here for a moment if I can and steal somebody's thunder because I just heard you say send as many messages as you can. And I know that there are people in our audience who are saying, wow, okay. And they're writing down, send as many messages as you can. But these are the same people who are struggling with, well, gosh, should I try their premium, free trial for a month because I get to send more messages with that. So I know
Yes.
that somebody is thinking this question. I'm going to articulate it for them. What's your thinking on the premium? Should I try it? Should I just do the free trial? Should I do it for a month and then abandon it? Should I keep it for my whole job search?
I would say that if you could afford it. Now, LinkedIn is still giving former military a year and a year worth of premium for free. So if that does apply, I would say if you're aggressively applying and you're not currently working and you can afford it, sure. However, if you're searching by first and second degree connections, obviously first degree connections you can send messages to. Second degree, you could potentially find people that you're connected to and do that. Um, but I would say, look, if money is tight, you're still going to have success in doing this because I want you to find people that you're already connected to that might be able to make that introduction.
You stole my thunder, Joe, by the way. I'm just going to ask the same question because I was going to say, like, I have premium and I feel like I can send all kinds of messages, but it's been so long since I've not been on premium that I don't remember how free users, how many messages you can send, that sort of thing. So it was a good question.
If a really good best practice too is, let's say you've ran out of messages for the week, and all of a sudden you really want to connect with this person. Well, if that person is active, that's easy. Find a post that they've recently posted or interacted with, because you can message them in the post. So again, if you haven't, if you ran out of messages, real quick, see what they've posted or commented on, and then you can comment on that. That's a kind of a little free little thing that I've maybe done in the past or suggested to others to do there.
So I want to go back to a couple of years ago when I published my second book, David, and you helped me with my LinkedIn engagement. One of the things that you said that I implemented that really paid off for me is engaging in other people's posts. It's counterintuitive. You want to do your own posts, right? You want people to engage with you. You want to drive people traffic to your profile. But what I found is by engaging with other people's posts is really how I got my traffic to take off.
Yes, I mean, we have to give a little, can't always be about us. But you are 100% correct. And the great thing that you can do on LinkedIn is when you're connected to somebody, um, obviously you can follow them, like I just did with this gentleman. You can unfollow him, but when you're following somebody, this little bell will pop up. If I wanted to see, if it was really important for me to see all of this individual's content, I could click all. So, if Joe was important to me, I could click, do the same thing. And then this way, in my notifications, every time this individual posts, then I will see it. Um, when I started really being active on LinkedIn, I picked about 20 people, industry leaders, thought leaders on LinkedIn that maybe have millions and millions of followers. And I engage with their content daily. Eventually, they sent me connection requests. It's a great way. It's not stalking. Again, you're providing some thoughtful, but it's a great way to, maybe there's some industry leaders that you really enjoy seeing their content on LinkedIn. And when they comment or engage on your post and they have a very large following, the chances of your content being seen by others really increases, because if somebody with a lot of followers, a lot of connections comments, then LinkedIn allows a certain percentage of their followers and connections to see that post. So yeah, Joe, that's a great call out. We do have to give, and it doesn't take that long. And if you're only following maybe a select few, then your notifications won't, get blown up. But then again, um, if this person's important to you, then again, engaging and just devoting maybe, 20, 30 minutes every day to do that. You don't have to be on here for hours and hours and hours. Um, uh, but I'm on LinkedIn from the minute I, get online to the minute I sign off. But if you just devote just a little bit of time, it will pay off. All right. How are we doing for time, Joe?
We got plenty of time. It's 12:24 Eastern. We usually go till around 1:45, and then questions. I am a little, and yes, there was an issue with the registration link, so we have a smaller group than I anticipated. I am a little bit surprised that there's not more questions from the group, though.
You're writing them all down for the end.
So
All
if the
right.
group isn't going to ask questions, I've got about a dozen of my own. And if you don't start asking them, then I'm just going to take personal privilege and ask my own questions.
All right. Let's talk about. Oh, I just went to this random person's profile. I want to give us a little bit of strategy here. First of all, under their name, their headline, this is perfect. It says Scrum Master, Product Owner, Agile Project Management Certified. This is a good use of this space. Um, Again, random person. So sorry, random person. Seeking new opportunities, open to work. That is not a very good use of your headline because it does not tell me what you do. And we have to make it super easy for somebody coming to your profile to understand what it is you do. So really good use of space. However, this person is a coffee lover, or maybe they make latte art in their spare time. Either way, this does not. I want you to think of this as that billboard driving down the freeway. You see that big billboard, it's colorful, it's got a call to action, maybe a phone number, whatever it is. Oops. Um, this has got to be that call of action. So, what does it tell me that you do? Nothing. I don't care if you just put some random, just add some verbiage to here. Canva allows you to do this for free. If you type in LinkedIn banner, you can create your own. Don't worry about putting your name on it. But what if you put, Agile Project Manager, or put some overlay, some things on here? Think of this as that banner. What can you do to call your those high level skills and knowledge that you possess right on here? The about section should really share what it is you do and maybe why you do it. Make that paragraph easy to read. You know, uh, put some spacing in between some of these sentences, not one big hot mess of a paragraph. It's okay to speak freely here. I have a proven track record of delivering high value solutions and improving team performance. That is great. Maybe take some of that summary, and then what would you share if you were meeting somebody for the very first time? What you do? This is a great place to call that out. And then we'll go to Joe's here for a second. Go to Joe's profile. So if you don't know this, you can add a 10-second audio of yourself on LinkedIn. What a great way for you to share 10 seconds, not only your name, and I would only mention your name in this if your name is difficult to pronounce. Otherwise, just share why it is what you do or what you're amazing at. It's a great way. Again, hardly anybody uses it. Only like 2% of people on LinkedIn use this. Again, I like this about section that Joe has here. Uh, um, I do not think this is too much. I think it's easily skimmable, and it does good um, a good job of sharing those uh, key experiences and what you excel at. So, Joe, great job there.
I used every character that was available to me, and I tried to nest the words, right? The words that are in my headline that I want people searching me on, I wanted them repeated as often as I could in the summary, because I know that LinkedIn weights the words that you put in your headline and your summary the highest, right? So I want to be found for roles like Agile Coach or Scrum Master. So you'll see them, and it's not obvious unless you know. But now that you know, if you go ahead and read my about section, you will say, oh boy, that word repeat. Hey, and that word repeat, and that word repeat.
100% Joe. What you put in your headline combined with those job titles, the content you put in your about section weighs heavy when recruiters or anybody are searching for people on LinkedIn, 100%. And let's just say your job title, um, let's just say you have a job title of project manager. However, in other organizations, it's really called this. It is okay to put project manager, maybe backslash, you know, again, some of those other job titles, if it doesn't align with what you're going to be applying, for. So again, feel free to add, again, maybe you don't put it on your resume, but here, or maybe you wear many hats. You only, this is your job title. However, in other organizations, you would really be doing this, this, and this. It is okay on LinkedIn under your job title to list them out. Totally acceptable. You can speak to it. And then on LinkedIn, most people don't know that you can add what's called the featured section. This is such a great place to share. Maybe you've written a book, or maybe you wrote an article on LinkedIn, or you shared a post. Um, Articles are great ways for you to share your knowledge of something. So let's say you wrote just a mini article on LinkedIn, sharing your experience doing this. Well, I'm coming to your profile and then I read a little bit of it. Now I have a better understanding, Joe, of your knowledge of that because of what you shared. Again, just like that audio message, hardly anybody adds anything to the featured section. You'd be quite surprised what you might, I get plenty of clients, Joe, that tell me, oh, there's nothing that I've done. I had this one gentleman at Boeing. None of the projects that I've ever done are on the internet or whatever. And I'm like, you worked on this 777 and you did this, you're telling me. And while we were on a video call, I did some quick searching within 10 or 12 seconds. I found numerous articles. Now, he wasn't mentioned in them. Project that he led was. What a great way to give that social proof of some of the things that you've done or been tied to. And you might find something that shares your name. I don't care if it's a picture of you shaking hands with the VP or CEO receiving some award. You know what? Share that. You can share that in the featured section. You can also share it in the job that it corresponds with. But most people are not going to make it that far down on your profile. They're not going to review your entire profile. So what you put in the about section and the featured section matters because, hey, it is right there. Again, featured section. Um, think of, again, those projects, programs, accolades that you can uh, share here, and it's super easy to share. You find a link to the website article, third-party article, and you can drop it right in the featured section. It can reference a post, um, pretty easy. And I got some detailed um, um, ways to do this that we can share offline with everybody attending today and everybody watching the video recap.
So we have some traffic in the chat here. We have a brave volunteer who said, "Hey, you can review my page if you want." And we have someone who says they had the green banner up for a couple of months and removed it a few days ago. They could not see if it was really useful, even though they are unemployed due to a company layoff. Is there any other alternative, or is this banner the right strategy so far? Is the question.
Oh boy. Um, the open to work, unless look, if a recruiter finds you on LinkedIn, right, by doing some searching, regardless if you have the open to work on, and they think you could do the job, they'll probably reach out to you. I'm just trying to find who shared that.
It was me. I have the
The
green banner too, so I figured if you wanted to, show somebody who had a green banner and get some free
Sure.
advice at the same time. Yeah,
Let's see
I
here.
always wonder about the green banner too, because I feel like you get more spam and more bots, especially when you post with that open to work post that you can do when you flip yourself to open to work.
Yeah.
And it's really annoying.
Can everybody still see my screen?
we sure
Yes.
can.
Okay. So what I would tell you is it is okay just then to open it up to recruiters only. I wouldn't be able to see it. I don't have the recruiting software on LinkedIn. So if you're open to work, then just leave it for recruiters only, because that that program, that process on LinkedIn costs a lot. So you're less likely to get spammed when you open it to work for recruiters only. And so I would say with your banner, real quick, I kind of like, um, I believe is that Key Arena, or formerly
Yeah.
known as
Well,
Key Arena?
yeah. Climate pledge now. Yeah.
I used to live in Washington State for a long time. But I like this. However, what verbiage might you be able to overlay on here that helps people better understand like what it is you do?
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I made that picture actually. And you know what? Just scroll up a bit because I'm not sure if you really touched on this, but I saw a question about if you're looking for multiple roles, because I am too.
Sure.
What is the best way to sell yourself? And I guess also sort of a side question. I'm assuming, the stock, like where you work and what your title is, um, headliner is gone. Like people would normally do something like what I have. Like, is that a good way to show like, hey, I'm looking for product owner, manager, that sort of thing, still business analyst? Is that really what you should use the headline for, especially if you're looking for multiple roles?
100% yes.
Okay.
Now, what I want you to do, I want you to believe, I want you to think that you're paying for every letter here. Okay, I want you to think that Seattle remote, I would probably get away. I would probably remove. You can. There's other ways that other places you can put that where it says open to work. You can actually put where you're looking to work.
That
Um,
is in there. I guess it doesn't show when you fill out your profile, you know, in the open to work section, it does
oh yeah, no, it
tap
will. It
it
will.
it
I'm
yeah,
just
you have to
saying
fill that.
in the headline, I would probably get rid of it here. But then what else can you share in here? You can add a lot of characters here. Fill this thing up.
I did have
Um,
that. That actually is from some other person who is giving advice about, how to optimize your profile.
yeah, the
So it's
only thing
interesting to
is
see how people give different advice. It's
oh
hard
yeah,
sometimes to understand what will work for you.
oh no, 100%. The reason that you don't, well, what if it's the perfect role and it isn't Seattle role? Let's just say, so you don't want to put yourself in a box that somebody goes, well, because maybe for the perfect position, you'd be willing to, work somewhere. So again, yeah, I would be, um, and if you want to leave that there, you're still, I know you can still probably add a few more characters here. Um, but again, what else could you share in here that would benefit that more? Because again, for the right person, the right recruiter, uh, you know, uh, would you be willing to, take on different locations or whatnot? That's the only thing. Sometimes these recruiters have only been recruiters. They have held no other job. And it is black and white for a lot of recruiters. How do I know a lot of recruiters, they tell me that. So again, they may pass up on you because of certain things or things that you don't have on your LinkedIn profile.
Hmm.
All right, Joe, you said you had a list of questions.
Uh, yeah, I do. And I think first on my list is, a couple of years ago when you and I were working together and you were getting me those multiple 1,000% increases in engagement, and I would send you screenshots and David, I can't believe, look at my engagement, it's off of the chart. Wow. All I had to do was make a post, right? A business related post that was about Agile, that had some kind of a comment or an insight that people found interesting, a tip or a trick, something that they could use. I got some engagement. People would follow me. People would ask me questions. Hey, when's your book coming out? I have the distinct impression, rightly or wrongly, that that whole model is gone now, right? I don't see a lot of people doing daily posts to get engagement anymore. I kind of feel like the LinkedIn algorithm has changed, rightly or wrongly. So I guess my question is, if you're looking for work, if you're trying to drive some traffic to your profile, if you want to be seen in your professional circles, is the way to do it on LinkedIn still by posting frequently, or has that kind of lost its luster?
So, you're right on many aspects there. Yeah, some of the LinkedIn algorithms changed just a little bit, actually more than a little bit. But I would say that still sharing advice, tips, and your knowledge does do just that. It is sharing. I mean, if somebody really wants to go in depth and looks at your profile, they can see, yeah, what you know and what you share, what you're a subject matter expert at. I would still say that best use of your time, because most of us only have 100 or 1,000, followers or whatnot, connections. I would say a better use of your time is still searching for people that work in the same places, that you see jobs that you want to apply for, because those are very targeted. And, if you only get two people that comment on your post, and those two people aren't, don't do anything what do, nobody's gonna, the right people aren't gonna see it. I would still say sharing, an article that, like we mentioned in the featured section, sharing a little bit longer, a little bit more in depth on what you know is way more helpful, even if not that many people see it. When people come to your profile, again, that featured section is just right underneath that about section. So people can then click on it and understand your knowledge about a particular topic. But yeah, again, connecting with people that you see, or even let's say you're currently working, but you're worried about your position and you want to work at Microsoft as a Scrum Master, messaging those people in those same or similar roles. Hey, if something were to open up based on my LinkedIn profile, my work experience, and my education, do you think I'd be a good fit and should I apply? Okay, so doing that when maybe there's not a position open, well, internal people know when they're going to be hiring again. And what if it sparks a conversation with that person? That is such a good best practice. If you have a hit list of companies that you want to work for in those positions, you're currently employed, but a little bit worried, or maybe just looking to leave, uh, such a better best practice. And when you post, realize that if you have a very small network, might not get seen by many, and that's okay. It is about just sharing your knowledge and skills. And Joe, how you got more engagement? Again, connecting with others and commenting on their posts. is a really good best practice to get other
Commenting on
people.
other people's posts was more productive for me than writing my own posts. And I wrote good posts too, I have to say.
Oh, it's 100%. I did that for months and months and months before I started actively posting on LinkedIn. And
Okay, I have another question. Since no one else is asking question, and so we're past 12:45. This is question and answer time.
I've
Open it up.
I've got one. I don't know if my audio is working yet.
Oh, Bruce, lay it on us. What do you got?
Hey guys, a friend of mine went to it was a mini job fair, if you will, maybe 10, 12 companies at his local suburb. And he met someone from a company. They had two or three recruiters there. And the lady took a paper copy of his resume as well as gave her LinkedIn profile so he could scan to send her a connection per her feedback to eventually talk more. 2, 3, 4 months went by, and that person has 500 plus connections, but she never came back to follow through on that connection and accepting it and continuing with her word of what was advertised is and this person wasn't just a headhunter, if you will. This person, an HR person, a recruiter from a particular company. So what is your advice if something like that happens? I tell them, I appreciate someone's time. They may get a lot of these given their recruiters at that company, but then again, you're telling someone something and hope they have a potential lead. No promises, no strings attached, but this person's not following through to at least connect and accept. What is that a concerning behavior, one? And how do you try and make that connection happen without stepping over the line? You don't want to pester them or start calling their desk phone, but it's a lead that fizzled.
so what I have I've come to a conclusion over the last 10, 15 years, probably, maybe even longer, that people are never going to do what they say they're going to do as far as following up. I hate to say that. So when I message somebody, after I message them, and they're dead to me. Meaning, again, hey, if they message me back, but I'm not going to get all worked up. That's why I would within maybe a couple weeks have messaged that person, back and just said, um, hey, not sure if, maybe the message didn't, I'm sure you're busy or whatever, just following up on our conversation at the, networking event, hoping, to learn more, whatever. And then if they don't respond, they don't respond. Or they might not be that active on LinkedIn. There are so many HR hiring managers that just aren't active on LinkedIn. They might not see it for 6 months, and um, or they forgot. It is a shame, Bruce, because I follow up with everybody because I put a reminder on my phone, or I do this, or I do that. Because I think that everybody is owed that. But nowadays, everybody is so busy, they just do not, they don't find the time or make it important. Um, Wish there was anything else, but that's
Okay,
why,
thanks.
it's totally frustrating if you're a job seeker, and I get it. Recruiters do this all the time. Put a little reminder if they said they were going to follow up with you in 10 business days, put a reminder on day 12 to follow up, and um, and then just move on. But I would say just don't leave your eggs in one basket. You just got to keep moving on. Um, you follow up, and if somebody else doesn't, it is a shame. But um, that's just it is the unfortunate world we live in now that I think everybody feels they're just too busy or just don't make it important to follow up.
I'll let my buddy know. I appreciate that.
Good question. Who else has questions for David? Quiet group today. Unusual. All right. Well, if nobody else is going to ask one, then I've got one. David, I get lots of requests from people to subscribe to their newsletter. Tell me about LinkedIn newsletters, and is it something I want to spend time on? Is it something that people read? Because I feel like I subscribe to a lot of them, but I don't actually read them.
Um, you know, newsletters, if they have a large following, it could be beneficial uh, to engage with that post. Now, every time that connection that you're connected to shares a new newsletter, you're going to get an alert saying, hey, follow this newsletter. Um, I would say if you like the information from that person, what they share, some industry insights, I would be very selective and um, see how often they post. If they share daily, maybe not. If they share weekly, but if you like what you're getting, but as far as getting a job, um, unless it's very helpful in what they share. Um, but again, yeah, it totally up to you. But every time they share a new newsletter, if you're connected to them and you haven't already subscribed, you're going to get a message. Hey, subscribe to this person's newsletter. So
Is writing a newsletter something that a job seeker might want to do?
I would uh, I would say stick to articles, and then add those to your featured section. Oh, and one other quick thing: LinkedIn groups. LinkedIn groups. Um, can they help? Sure. I would see how many followers they have. If they have 10, 100,000, 80,000, million followers in that uh, LinkedIn group, sure. See how active they are. Look at posts that they've shared. Uh, if there's a lot of engagement, but generally LinkedIn groups. Um, LinkedIn platform just isn't high on groups, more on Facebook. Uh, saying that you can't get traction, but people don't consume LinkedIn that way. That's why LinkedIn groups generally don't get the attraction they and attention they deserve.
I sign up for LinkedIn groups that have large memberships only because, rightly or wrongly, I feel like I can message the people in those because I got a common group membership, even though I'm not connected with them. So
Yes.
I'll look at a group, and if it's got 1,000 people, I know. But if it's got 100,000 people, and I'm interested in it. Hey, we have a question in the chat. Is there any disadvantage if I apply to a lot of jobs at the same time? Will it do something to my ranking being listed as a candidate?
No. Oh, wait a minute. Different jobs at the same company?
No, no, similar position in different companies, like 20, 40, 50 Scrum Master position in the same day.
Oh, no. I would say that no, definitely. I will touch on this. A lot of people might see 4 different positions at Microsoft, slightly different positions. Well, when you apply for 4 different positions at the same company, then that person looking at it might go, well, what do they really want, right? But no, there is no reason. I would say that, I would ask, are you adding a cover letter? Cover letters can really differentiate you from somebody else. Here's why. Nobody's ever going to read an entire cover letter, but if that cover letter can share a little bit about why you're a good fit for that role, they might be more apt to read more on your LinkedIn profile, more on your resume. Uh, if you get a good cover letter, I think it's easy to adjust like 1 or 2 little sentences. And if anybody messages me on LinkedIn, I can send you some, like kind of a little generic um, cover letter that you could then kind of see the strategy behind that. But cover letters kind of coming back as long as they're not too lengthy. And as long as you quickly identify and share why you're a good fit for this particular role. Because again, then I get excited as a recruiter or hiring manager about reading your resume. And if you can only upload one document when you're applying, that's easy. Just add the cover letter and the resume to one document.
All right, we've got time for one or two more questions. Who's got a remaining question that didn't get answered?
I think I have just a follow-up question to that discussion because I actually don't do the spam applying anymore because I don't know, I feel like you get a whole lot more rejections that way because maybe you're not necessarily like I like to cater my resume now to the role and the company instead. So I spend a lot more time just on, applying to this one role instead of having just like a stock. Like I do have what I call a base resume that I start out with. But I am curious to know, because I think you were sort of saying, yeah, apply to those 40 roles in that one day. But for me, that would be exhausting. So I'm curious to know, are we both right? Where is the happy medium, I guess, if we're sort of both good or not?
Well, so if you are a true good fit for that particular role, I mean, a really good fit, because you're going to realize 200, 400, 800,000 applicants. Are you a really good fit for those 40 jobs? Okay, maybe only 20. Okay, maybe only 15, right? So again, are you truly a good fit? Because if you just say to yourself, well, that maybe they'll give me a chance. They're getting applicants, they're getting resumes, they're getting people to apply that have already held that job. So if you haven't held that job before, but you're just waiting for the right person to maybe give you a chance, you're better doing that internally, that people that know you. So again, I think you could be both right, but again, yes, applying for 40 jobs in one day, very exhausting, a lot of rejection. And then again, are you taking the time to make sure that your resume does align with those 40? Are you sending cover letters that share your excitement about that role? Or are you just hoping and the spray method of just applying and somebody will reach out to you? But again, are you truly qualified for all of those positions? And a lot of times we might find that the answer is no. So again, really just apply for the ones that you know that you're qualified for. If you're qualified for all 40, maybe pace it out over a few days.
And I want to know your secret too. I feel I'm a little too choosy because I don't like getting so many rejections. So I really try to hit all the boxes. Like I feel it's frustrating because, no offense, but I see I figure there's a lot of spam type applying. So like when you see a job where you're applying to and it says there's like 200 people that have applied already, it's frustrating because, how many people are you even going to get looked at because they have to screen through so many? So that's just my feeling. It
I
gets
think what you
frustrating.
just did was you set the deck for our next presentation, because David has offered to come back since I screwed up
Okay,
the on this.
good.
David has offered to come back. I want to thank everybody who has joined us today for their engagement. I especially want to thank our guest, David. And his LinkedIn profile is in the chat. If you want to connect with David, if you are looking to get some coaching for your LinkedIn profile, I encourage you to reach out to him. I've worked with David before and have gotten great results. So David, thank you very much. Everybody, we hope you have a great day and a great evening. Look forward to the video of this being posted on our YouTube channel in the next week to 2 weeks. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Great evening. Bye-bye.